Hello everyone, I'm MKP and welcome back to my channel. Okay, so today's video, I'm gonna be showing you how I made my cigarette blanket. It's gorgeous. So I do want to start this off by saying I'm definitely not a professional tutorial, I'm not good at doing tutorials, so probably not beginner friendly, sorry. I just suck at explaining stuff. Also I I don't sometimes I don't know the proper words, so I forget and then it just makes it look bad. So probably not for beginners, sorry, but yeah. So the reason why I wanted to make this video was because I put a lot of work into this and I wanted to show it off. I had to restart this project 3 times. I couldn't get the length right on it, and now that it's finally done, I want to be like, oh, look what I did, showing it off. But yeah, I just kind of wanted to show my process off, what I did, and how long it took me. Again, this is definitely not beginner friendly. I suck at tutorials. But yeah, I just kind of wanted to put this all in a video, especially since this took me a week and I really wanted to show it off. It's really cool. Yeah, anyways, let's get into it. Okay, so the materials I used was obviously yarn. These are just the 2 base colors for the cigarette. I'm sorry, I'm not gonna take out anymore, but I used about 4 to 6 colors. The more colors I use be if you wanted to make the cigarette burning. I chose to have it mid-burn. So I had this light shade of brown and it was left over, so I wanted to use it. Then I had the red for while it's burning, and then the black, and then the char to make it more realistic, kind of. You don't have to, and you can honestly just cut it off to the white part with it not burning. That's up to you with however you want your blanket to be. But for my tutorials, kind of, I'm just gonna do the first 2 colors, the basic colors of a cigarette, and then go from there. So the other materials besides yarn I used is obviously a crochet hook. I think I used a 0.5, not 0.5, sorry. That's so small. That's way too small for that. Okay. I used a 5.5, I think. Right now I have a 4.0 and then a 6mm. Honestly, it depends on what yarn size you use, how big you want the stitches to be, or how small. This is why I'm bad at tutorials. I personally I switch between hooks, especially I don't really care for following, okay, this is the hook size that the yarn says that it needs, or is packaged with. I don't tend to care enough about that. I just go with the flow. But yeah, hook size and how big you want your stitches to be, or how small you want them to be, totally up to you, which is what makes it a fun project. So the other materials that I used was a tapestry needle. This just helped me push in all the ends if I didn't crochet them while I was working, which they ended up coming undone because I threw it in the wash, so I probably have to go over that. But I feel if you don't tuck them in all the way, kind of especially at the burning part, it kind of gives it character, because it then looks okay, it's actually burning a little bit. There's a couple places that, yeah, that it kind of peeps out of, but it kind of gives it more character in a way, especially for the blanket. Now the last 2 items was place clippers. I didn't use them too often. I just kind of I tend to stretch out the yarn and then just hope that it doesn't unravel again. But yeah, I did use these at the beginning and then I stopped. Now the last thing that you'll need, obviously, scissors. Regular scissors or the scissors that come in crocheting kits is fine. They're scissors. Okay, so I'm gonna have my materials on standby, and for my tutorial I'm gonna be using a 4mm crochet hook. Okay, so the first thing I'm gonna do is a slip stitch, which I just do it like that, and then pull that's the string that's on this hand, and then boom, slip stitch. I'm sorry, I'm really not beginner friendly. I suck at doing tutorials. Sorry. But anyways, okay, then I just started chaining stitches. The length is honestly up to you, however long you want your blanket to be. I kind of kept mine relatively short because the yarn that I was using, I was playing chicken yarn, I think is what it's called. And I only had so much to where I could make it like long enough, and then I had to make it shorter. That's why I had to restart and like frog it a couple of times because I kept messing up on the length and the yellow part was just too small for the rest of like the cigarette in general. And so that's why I had to frog it. I was playing chicken yarn, I think that's what it's called, but the length is up to you. And now I'm gonna, from however long you want it to be, you're gonna chain 3, since the stitch that I used was a treble crochet or a treble stitch. It's kind of like it's a double stitch, just you add an extra chain. So 1, 2, and then from the last 2 that you just made, so that little bump and then that one, and you're gonna skip 2 bumps. You're gonna go into the 3rd one. And now I have my 3rd one on. I'm gonna put my yarn over the hook. I forget what that's called. I'm so sorry. This is why I'm definitely not beginner friendly. Sorry. And then I'm gonna go through 2 first time after I put my yarn on the hook again, and then yarn on the hook again, go through 2, and then 1 more time, and then there's my treble crochet. And I just did that for the rest of the way. Yeah. And you just do that until you get to the other side. Okay, so I'm back at the other end, and I'm gonna show you how to go back the other direction. So I chained 2. Sorry, I'm forgetting what I've done. Chain 2 on that side, then flip it, and then just do another treble crochet. Not in the 2 chains, but in the one right there. And then do another one, and then just go all the way till you're at the other end. I'll come back and I'll change my colors to show you kind of like how I did like the change off and then how I tucked in the strings. Okay, so I've gotten to the other end, and I'm going to show you how I changed colors. So I'm going to change to white. So I'm going to go, either you can undo the stitch, which I'm going to redo it right now, and get my hook back in. There we go. Sorry, it's on a strings loose. There we go. Okay, so I'm gonna redo the stitch, and then you can either stop here because that's where you switch, or if you already did the stitch, go back through the last 2, and then you're gonna grab your other color, and there's no need to tie. I just put it on the hook like that, so I have my string that's connected to the actual like yarn cake, and then the one that's just loose. It's gonna be a little loose, but you can pull it tight. Like later, like you can pull the yellow yarn, and then it'll tighten this. And then I just chain 2 like normal, and then flip it, and then chain my treble crochet back into that yellow. And that's how I switch colors. Now, for these, you could stitch them in with your tapestry needle if you wanted to. I also, which you can undo this, and then you could, if I can get it, there we go. And you could tuck in these. I wouldn't suggest tucking in the yellow maybe, because that's like not where it lined, and it might look, let me try that. But you could tuck in your stitches, like find your first stitch that you need to go into after you've done your 2 chains, and then have it like over the stitch, not going like into the extra yarn, but then stitching it, and so it's like in between the stitches. And so when you cut it, like I'll crochet a couple more, and then you can cut it off, and then it'll look like really clean, and you won't have to go back and with your tapestry needle and sew it up, which is nice because you don't have to worry about that. I know when I washed, oh, sorry, that was a double crochet. When I washed my blanket, some of the ends started to peek through, but that's just probably because I probably didn't wash it on delicate, knowing me. And then after you do like a couple chains, you can just cut these ends off, and boom. After you do another stitch, it will be hidden, and no one will see it. I mean, if it comes undone too, you can always just use your tapestry needle and like thread it back through. yeah, that's how I changed my colors. I'm gonna go to the other end and then do another one. And yeah, I'll be back. I'm back and I did a second row and the first row of white. And then after however like long you want, or like lengthwise, or how like to fit it like to how tall you are for the blanket, after how many rows you want to do to make it look good, make it look like a cigarette, then you just cut it off. And personally I do where you thread it through and then just pull, and I sew it in through wherever I can. But yeah, that's how I did my my cigarette blanket. But yeah, honestly, you just make it to however you want. I made it to, like, for my blanket, I made it as like about from my like shoulders to try to like get it down to my feet, but then I couldn't because I only had like such a limited amount since I was playing Yarn Chicken, and I didn't have any more of that color that would match it. Like, I tried matching this to the other, but it's just like such a different like undertone to it than the other yarn. Yeah, that's just how I did it, and I made it however long. Like, it's totally up to you. It's such a fun project, and it's unique to everyone else on what they want their blanket to be, which is fun, but it still is so whimsical and fun to make. But yeah, sorry for the bad tutorial again. Definitely not beginner friendly, but like if you know the stitches, I think you'll be fine. But I would probably not put this, I'm not gonna title this as a tutorial. Definitely not. It's so bad. But yeah, that's my rundown of how I did my cigarette blanket. So that is how I created my cigarette blanket. I love it so much, and I'm so glad I did it. It's definitely very fun and whimsy, like just an extra like decor that functions at like useful for as a blanket. I love it so much. I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. A really bad tutorial of what I did. But yeah, that's all I have for today. Thank you so much for watching, especially if you made it this far. Thank you. Sorry for the really bad tutorial. Definitely not beginner friendly. But yeah, don't forget to stay creative, and I'll see you next time. Bye!